now you probably know of a recent storm that moved across western Nebraska and South Dakota, killing thousands of cattle along the way. The losses are made worse by the lack of a livestock indemnity program within a farm bill and by FSA offices being closed as a consequence of the government shutdown. Earlier this week, we talked with Jenny Nixon, a UNL Extension educator in Sioux County, about how that snow and rain caused so many problems for farmers and ranchers in that area. For perspective, Sioux County is the northernmost and westernmost county in Nebraska and borders both Wyoming and South Dakota.
You know, we normally expect our first snows in the Panhandle to occur about Halloween, and so we had a very early snowstorm and in fact a blizzard come in the first part of October. We were a little bit unprepared for that. First of all, we had about 2 inches of rain ahead of the blizzard, and the cattle had not yet put on a full winter coat. A lot of the trees are the same way. You were dealing with, trees that just aren't ready for winter. And so everything was kind of going into this a little bit unexpected. We had 60-mile-an-hour winds and a lot of snow, and it was lately predicted. It was very late in the prediction. So we had some catastrophic things happen. In the very, very northern corner of the Panhandle, some livestock producers got caught very short. I'd say there's some catastrophic losses for some of the producers there.
I know it's early yet, but have you been able to get a handle on the numbers, the quantity of losses that have been suffered out there?
You know, that's a little difficult to get yet. We're still working on that. But for some people, they lost a lot of livestock. Some people lost in the 40 to 50, 60, and even 80% of livestock. And that is fairly catastrophic for anybody.
Well, what happened there, Jenny? Was it they were out on pastures, and just give me an idea of kind of how they lost those livestock?
Sure. Most of our livestock is still out on summer pasture, and those pastures tend to not be as well protected as our winter pastures. And so cattle are out in the open. In some cases, the cows had just been weaned. The calves were off, and the cows were still wandering around and looking for their calves and not spending a lot of time eating, and so didn't have as much energy as they needed. As the storm came on, cows obviously turned their tails into the wind, and they drift ahead of the wind, and when they got stuck or hung up in fences, they piled up on each other. Sometimes they fell into canyons and got covered over, but even livestock that was close to barns or hay bales or something like that, sometimes seeking that protection, got covered over. It was just a lot of weather to deal with all at one time.
Both departments of Ag in South Dakota and Nebraska are encouraging producers to document their losses. What's your recommendation about how people go about doing that?
Well, we've got about 4 or 5 different things we hope that livestock producers will do. First of all, use a camera with a date stamp that's turned on to document losses. Make sure that you've got somebody reputable to help you document those losses. Call your insurance agents, your bankers, your extension educators, people like that who can help you verify those losses. Even your neighbor will do, as long as you're not verifying for each other. Make sure that you keep specific records on the type of livestock that is lost. Is it a replacement heifer? Is it an old cow? Is it a bull? What's the type of livestock lost? And I would make sure that you contact your insurance agent, even if you don't have an insurance policy on those livestock. Make sure your ag lenders know what's going on. And now that we're back in session, get a hold of your local FSA office.
There's obviously going to be a big job of disposing of all the dead livestock here. What's the recommendation, or what options do producers have for disposing of those animals?
Well, the Department of Environmental Quality has 4 disposal methods for folks to be able to use, and that's all readily available on their website if they want to look that up. The 4 options were, well, rendering is the first one, and it's out after the 3rd day, so rendering is no longer available to us. We have burial under a 4-foot soil cover. You can incinerate, or you can compost animals. And obviously the biggest problem is that we can't get to these animals, so it's going to be a long process.
So Jenny, this is obviously not just a monetary issue. It's obviously going to be a multi-million-dollar issue from South Dakota and into Nebraska, but also for a lot of these ranchers, this is their family identity and has been for a number of years. Can you just maybe give me an idea of the emotional toll that it's taking on producers out there?
You know, this is like a loss in the family. Losses like this are very difficult to take, very emotional. We have a bond with our livestock, and we realize that they depend on us, and we feel like we've let them down. And this is our whole life. Depending on what class of cattle that you may have lost, or sheep, or goats, we've lost a lot of different things, and even horses. These are our friends, and we've cared for them for a long time, and it feels like a loss in the family. So one of the things that's been very interesting to me is that the blogosphere has come together and really created a community of caring and sharing stories and helping to carry that load of loss. And so that's been very interesting to me to read our advocates who are online and blogging about this.